Over the weekend, they interviewed on Bloomberg Television the head of the LA port. He is, he's kind of smiling through the interview, but if you look at him real close, you could see the fear and the pain behind his eyes. He's talking about we are already at this very moment 30% down in shipping coming into the port. 30%. That's 1/3 of our imports are already not coming in. And we haven't even gotten to the bad part yet. China is down 60%. And that's as of right now. It will be 100% because if you put 145% tariff on any country, there is no more trade. I mean, you could put 100%. Honestly, you could put 50%, and that's basically just a stoppage in trade. Once you get to a level like 50%, that is enough to just wreck it, wreck the trade agreement. We used to have like 2%. I'm not talking about on China, but just generally, 1 to 2% in trade costs. Now it's a minimum of 10% in the countries that we're treating nicely. That's not Mexico. That's not Canada. The sure as shit isn't China. And we get most of our goods from those three countries. I remember Republicans are always talking about we hate bureaucracy. And, the Democrats are always, trying to add some regulations and bureaucracy and all that stuff. When this trade issue comes up, and now countries are trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to continue to sell my products either to America or all over the planet if I've got to now start either shipping my products from China to Vietnam or Sri Lanka or the Philippines so I can get a better trade deal? You are adding layers of bureaucracy to it. It's literally more bureaucratic red tape between you and the product that you want to buy. But the head of the port, he goes on and he's all right. Donald Trump started this whole thing off as a national emergency. That the reason why he's doing this, he does not have the authority to do these kind of trade, these trade deals on his own without having to declare it's a national emergency. Now, this will be litigated in the court. It hasn't gotten to the court yet, or it's gotten in lower courts. It hasn't worked its way up to the Supreme Court. And whether or not it gets to the Supreme Court and they tell him no, is he going to follow it by that time? Probably not. I don't know. I mean, I wonder if the bare shelves are going to work. I mean, on Kristen Welker's interview the other day, she says, is this not your economy at this point? With all the trade deals and trade agreements that you've done in the last 3 months, when is this going to be the Trump economy? And he goes, well, it's partially true. All the good stuff that's going on, that's me. And all of the bad stuff, that's Biden. It could not be literally the opposite if I drew a fucking picture of it, for God's sakes, and then flipped it over backwards and made you read it through a fucking mirror. Joe Biden, his fuck-ups were, pretty extensive. He wasn't a very good president, but his internal economic policies for the United States, he actually did a good job with that stuff. Everybody was complaining. I remember everybody was like, oh my God, this 4% inflation, it's crazy. We're talking about right now a minimum of a 10% inflationary hike due to the tariffs. Minimum 10, if not more. And if you're talking about Chinese products, forget about it, you're not getting them anymore. You're just not. Shein and Temu, which are like those internet providers where you can buy like, $10, $15 t-shirts from China. They are putting at the bottom, this is how much our item costs, and this is how much it costs now with the tariff. They're adding a tariff line. They have also, both Shein and Temu have both said to Google, we're no longer advertising on Google. And that was about 30 to 40% of their entire ad revenue. So Google's going to get hit with this stuff. It's like nobody is immune. The Port Authority guy, he says that he was asked about trucking, due to lack of shipping. And he's like, well, we're getting less ships in, which means there's going to be less trucking. Not to mention the bare shelves that are coming, but also a lot of layoffs. You're not going to be getting the work that you used to because you're not going to be shipping across the country anymore. Less ships means less product. Less product means less trucks. They're going to be getting it hit. Everybody is going to feel this pain. It was like, I'm not a trucker. It's got nothing to do with me. You just wait. You wait. Every time you go to the grocery store and try to buy something, if you can find it, it's going to cost considerably more than it did before. I mean, all the little things that you don't even consider, how much something is going to cost. And now all of a sudden, it's going to be everywhere. Every facet of your life, economically, is going to be affected by these tariffs. In a couple of weeks, we're going to start seeing some bare shelves. The inventory that they bought in anticipation for this, hoping that Donald Trump would just smooth this shit out and make it go away, they bought extra stuff. So there will be a little, as Donald Trump says, there will be an overhang. But he was talking about Biden's economy. He said, Biden economy overhang. But he mentioned the Port Authority guy said, well, spring and summer fashion is going to be hit. And back to school, that's, it's not that far away. We're still in school. Summer is not very long. Back to school fashion and in books and clothing and what have you, all those things, that's going to take a hit. And let's not forget Christmas. You need to be ordering, if you are a toy store, and most toy stores are like small to medium-sized stores. 50% of those are going to close. They're going to go out of business, and it's going to be gobbled up by somebody like Amazon or something. But if you are not ordering your Christmas stuff by summertime, normally, you don't get it. And if there's nothing to get, he's going to make that Donald Trump thing, you don't need $30, you only need $2 thing. You're going to make that shit come true. Except it's not going to be $2. It's not going to be any dolls. Because China's not sending us stuff anymore. There's this thing, it's called de minimis trade. That's anything under $800, we as Americans would be able to buy it directly from China. Like Shein, like Temu. That's no longer here. And the stores that are going to be affected by that are going to be stores that primarily service the poorer communities, like Dollar General and Walmart and what's another, Dollar Tree. Those are going to be taking a big hit because a lot of the products they get are from China, Vietnam, Hong Kong, where you go in there and you get a stack of towels for like $10 because you need towels and you're not a wealthy person. You can't really afford it. They are going to be taking a huge hit. And what are the poor communities going to do? Now, I mean, maybe in Donald Trump's mind, he doesn't really give a shit, and maybe in Stephen Miller's mind, he goes, well, I don't care. Those are all black communities. By the way, I love the way Donald Trump says black. All those black voters voted for me, What did he say the other day about Representative Crockett? It's obvious she has a low IQ. Why? Because she's black, Mr. President? It's always the black and brown women that have the low IQ. Anyway, I digress. But to people like Trump and Miller, they don't really seem to care because they are under the impression that white people aren't like that. Honey, The largest recipient of welfare in this country are poor white people. I hate to break the news to you, but that's how the cookie crumbles. Yes, black people are going to be affected by this, but so are poor white people. And let me tell you, if you are a poor white Christian conservative, I can absolutely assure you, you have more in common with a poor black Christian than you do with Donald fucking Trump. A guy, a billionaire who is surrounded by gold leaf and bro fucking Cade is telling you that you're going to have to make some sacrifices. When he says, oh, we're going to have to make some sacrifices. Or when Elon Musk says, oh, there's going to be a time of struggle and we're going to have to make sacrifices. What do you mean we? I assure you they are not going to be making any sacrifices. When Donald Trump says the tariffs are going great and we're going great and the stock market is booming and everybody in the stock market, first of all, he's lying. Stock market isn't booming. We're not even close to where we were just a couple of months ago. We've lost trillions of dollars on the market. But in his mind, he's surrounded by a handful of people who bought the dip. Eventually, that's not going to work out anymore because it's just going to continue to dip. But in his mind, him and his wealthy folk are making money. And that is his signifier that the country is doing good. Remember, he said that when America was at its greatest was at the end of the 18th century, 1897 into the early 1900s. And that was literally the Gilded Age, where 10 people owned everything, like Carnegie and the Vanderbilts and the Rockefellers. They owned everything, and everybody else was fucking scrounging for scraps on the street. And he thinks that that is when America was at its greatest. And he's working his way back to it. If this keeps up, we might be getting there a lot sooner than you think. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe. Keep rocking.